Okay,
simultaneously.
let's go.
Okay, so let's go ahead and get this started. Mm. Okay. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good morning to those of you that are joining us from Asia, and good evening to those of us in North America and experiencing the eclipse today. Wow, what an amazing energy. And I'm so excited. I'm so excited to be here tonight with a very dear friend of mine, the incredible Marcy Kaye. Marcy is the founder and the creator of Storybooth, storybooth.com and Storybooth on YouTube and social media. And Marcy, I would like for you to be the one that introduces Storybooth, to talk about Storybooth and to talk about your background, and then I'll talk about why we're collaborating together, okay?
Thank you, Daniel. Thanks for including me.
Of
Um,
course. Thanks for being
really
here.
excited to meet everybody. I have been working with kids online for the past 25 years. So part of why I'm so attracted to working with Daniel is we see all of this technology in the world. We see the phones, we see TikTok, we see Snapchat. And my kind of primary focus has been how do we use these tools and how do our kids use these tools in a way that's going to be healthy for them? So the
Right.
company that I started is called Storybooth, and it's a YouTube channel. And we animate real stories from kids on important topics of the world, from bullying to self-esteem to body image. And I really wanted to create a safe space where kids could connect, because I think part of why Daniel and I are here today is we're finding that some of these technologies are really hard for kids. So Storybooth has kind of been a safe haven for kids to connect and to be inspired by one another. And so that's kind of my passion, is how can we use technology in a way that's safe and healthy, um, and in a way that empowers our children. So I'm excited to be here with Daniel today.
And I am Storybooth's #1 fan.
You've been with
Actually,
us.
a little background on my relationship with Marcy too, which is kind of interesting how everything brings us back together, right, Marcy? Marcy and I met 10 plus years ago, at this point, when her children were in a class of mine. I was teaching a class called Spirituality for Kids. And it was a program that was based on resiliency, giving children the tools how to create more in their life, how to actually look at caring and sharing from the point of view of what can they get from caring and sharing. Adults are always telling the kids how to behave, but spirituality for kids gave kids the opportunity to actually perceive for themselves the value in learning those deep spiritual truths, right? It was a non-religious program. Anyway, Marcy's kids were in my class, and the kids
Not
did
behaving well, not behaving well,
the
by the
kids, they
way.
were not behaving well, by the way. I love them very much, but they were very hard to control. And and the kids didn't end up staying for the class, but Marcy did. And Marcy and I really clicked because we both saw this energy in each other, this passion to empower a new generation with everything that's coming with them and through them, and the access that they have to everything right now was really incredible and really magnanimous. So Marcy and I originally connected because of kids, because of our love of kids, and because our love of wanting to create a different future for kids. And fast forward some 12, 13, 14, how many ever years later. And not only have we done that, but we've also become very dear friends. And we are excited to bring you guys something that both Marcy and I have experienced personally. Um, and that's what we want you to look at, like social media. What is the monster of social media now in the world? The monster of social media. The amazing gift that social media has. For example, Marcy's platform Storybooth has over 1 billion views, millions of followers. These kids are really connecting to these stories. One of the things that I always admired so much about Storybooth was the interaction that the kids have with each other. when a story when a story was released, they would go and they would tell their stories and they would build community. It was so beautiful. The
Yeah, and I
reason,
think part of why that works, Danielle, is
yeah,
because how many times on social media are we really being our true selves? I
right.
don't think kids feel safe to be themselves. And I think part of what Storybooth did was said, we're going to be real here. We're going to be vulnerable. We're going to tell the truth.
Yeah,
And social media is really designed kind of not for truth.
that's
And
right.
so I think that's why so many kids came to Storybooth, because it was a safe place to just go
Yeah.
through what we do as kids and be themselves.
Yeah. And I think that opens up the space for why you and I created this particular class, the social media spiral, because there are incidents, as we all know, with children and with adults in which what's happening on social media is that they aren't supported. They aren't
No,
respected, right? It's quite the opposite.
yeah, I think part of what we're seeing, and it's a concern. I think a lot of parents, and we're curious to hear what people have to say, but what we're seeing is that, I've talked to hundreds of kids about social media, and not one of them said that they enjoy it.
That's
Not
right.
one of them said that it makes them feel good. Not one of them said that it's something they feel like they could control. And that's part of why Daniel and I came together, is to say, how can we help parents start talking about social media in a way that helps their kids?
Mhm.
What we'd like to say, not go down this spiral, which Daniel and I are going to talk about. And we've really worked on a program to figure out, oh, how can they take control of this technology, which is so hard. We as adults are still trying to struggle. We're struggling with that.
Right. You guys noticed the graphic that we picked out of the woman, the mother, like on her megaphone screaming at her kid to get off of her phone, right? How many of you actually feel like that with your children? But our children and our young adults, and we are so addicted to these platforms, right? We're so addicted for these platforms that we're looking for some kind of external confirmation, validation, whatever it is, and we can't seem to find our way out of it. So Marcy and I wanted to approach it a little bit differently, right, Marcy?
Yeah, I think what we saw is that there's a cycle that kids are going through. And the number one thing that we both have seen is that mostly what every kid is doing is wanting to post for validation.
Correct.
And they're wanting to engage in social media because it's how they want to present to their friends and the world. And so what we're trying to do is we have figured out, I think, a
I think
way to pull them out of that space so that they can actually start making choices. In doing research about social media and kids, there's something called compare and despair. How many of us go online, and if we're being honest as adults, and we look at pictures of our friends or of a pretty vacation or of even a picture of coffee, are we comparing something in our lives
right.
to that image? And how
Yeah.
does that make us feel? And part of what I talk to the kids about is not very good, that they're going on social media and they're looking at pictures and they're looking at things and they're not feeling good. And that is leading to mental health issues. It's leading to them feeling sad. It's leading to them feeling insecure. They don't feel good about their body. So this is real. And so we want to equip you as parents to say, okay, what do we do? We don't, we know that it's hard, but what do we do about it? Because
Yeah,
we
and
have some really great tools to do
yeah,
so.
and also, by the way, what if, and this is what I think honestly, Marcy is so freaking cool about our program, is in the social media spiral, this class that we're going to present to you guys that you have the opportunity to take, to be a part of. In the social media spiral, we don't tell you how to fix your kids. We don't tell you what is wrong with your kids or what is wrong with social media or how to get them off of it. In fact, it's just the opposite. We actually, Marcy and I have looked at combining both of our the things that we love. Like I love consciousness, I love spirituality, I love life skills, I love all of this, and so does Marcy. We looked for a way to kind of combine these things to actually empower your kids to make the choices for themselves. so that you don't have to be the one who's trying to tell them that they should think this or they shouldn't think this or that they shouldn't engage in that or they shouldn't do that, right, Mars? I think that's what most adults do. We watch our kids go through the traumas and the dramas, and then we go, no, 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 please, 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 don't listen to that. Don't believe that. Don't buy that. Put that phone down. But it never works, right, Mars?
Yeah, I think most parents say to me, how much screen time, how much screen time, how
Yeah,
much screen time?
yeah,
And they're fighting. How many of you are fighting with your kids? And you're like, only an hour, only a half an hour. And it's exhausting because we're trying to keep them healthy, but we don't know how to do it. And so Daniel and I were thinking, that doesn't work. It's yes, you can manage screen time sometime, but they're going to get to a point where you can't manage it anymore. So
yeah,
how do you teach kids the skills to take control back? And I think part of what we have both seen through personal stories is that these technologies are sucking our kids in.
yeah,
They're designed to suck you in. It is not your child's fault that they are spending time on their screen or that they're kind of getting into the drama that I know my daughter has had so much drama with, is she being left out from something? What are her friends doing? Why isn't she in that picture? Or looking at other body types and comparing them to herself. And I would be like, wow, what's up with her self-esteem? But it's not her. It's that the technology is really hard. And it's hard for us too. How many times have you as a parent been like, get off your screens, and then you start texting on your phone?
yeah,
And so I think these tools are also going to help us realize the first question is, how does it make you feel? When I've asked kids, how does it make you feel when you do that? They stop and they look at me. How does it make you feel when you post that picture?
yeah,
Why are you posting that picture? Why are you making that choice? That awareness starts to open things up. So
yeah.
we've created a system that you could take as parents and easily kind of start showing your child. And it's pretty powerful what we've kind of discovered and uncovered in
I
all
think
of this.
I think also many of us are also looking for a new language with social media, right, Marcy? I mean, so many of the things that I hear when I'm working with my clients is like you said, all day long, I'm telling my kids, get off the phone, get off the phone, get off the phone, or whatever. And then they'll put it away, but then you'll catch them looking or this or that. And it becomes a division and a separation between you and your children. Okay. So one of the contributions that Marcy and I have looked at is what could we create that actually would bring you and your children together with social media? What kind of conversations, what kind of dialogue can you have that actually presents everything on the table? Like Marcy said, you're asking the questions. Okay, so how does it make you feel to post that? What does that look like? Then guess what? All these tools that you are implementing with your children, you can actually implement within your family. Imagine that your kids get in an awful fight and that one of them says something horrible to each other. You now will have the tools that you're going to learn through our class to actually pull what that child aside and say, okay, I can acknowledge that you made that choice to call your sister that thing. How did that make you feel? Why did you choose that? So, yes, yes, this class falls under the umbrella of social media because that's where we're going to see the biggest impact. But we're giving you guys a language, a brand new language to use with your children to empower your children, to empower your teens, so that they can start to become mindful, they can become conscious of what they're putting out in the world.
And I think part of why we're so passionate about this is a problem. And when, I'm in the industry, I speak to Google, I speak to YouTube, I speak to very big people in entertainment, I speak to legislators. This is a problem.
Yep.
And it's a problem for our kids. We give them these devices and they don't know how to use them. And so it is our responsibility as parents to start stepping in because the technology companies aren't and
Right.
people are not. And that's why Daniel and I said, this is really important. I think the other thing that we identified, and I'm just going to share a personal experience. The reason why we call this the spiral is because it's designed to spiral your child. And I'm just going to give my personal example. Can I give my
Yes.
personal example of
Yes.
how
And then I'll
part
give
of
mine. Yeah.
this was figured out? Because I could see what was going on with kids, and then I spoke to kids. But a couple months ago, I don't use a lot of social media because I'm pretty disciplined about it, because I don't like the way it makes me feel. I use it to connect. I use it to do Daniel's classes. I use it to teach, but I don't really love looking at feeds. And so I'm recently divorced, and I saw there was somebody I was interested in, and I was going down his feed. And I went down his feed and I saw that he was, interested in, he had a girlfriend and they were together. And I started looking at the pictures and looking at the pictures and looking at the pictures. And then I went deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And it started to make me feel a certain way. And I started making up stories, and I started going in this loop where it just kind of took me in this loop because I was going down this little rabbit hole. And I realized, wow, this is what kids are doing. This is what kids are doing. Their friend posts a picture of a party, or maybe one of their best friends is with someone else, and they post the picture and they look at it and they start telling stories, and it makes them feel bad, and then it hurts their self-esteem, and they keep going and they go and they go.
That's right.
And this is why we call it the spiral, because this is what is happening with your children. And it's really hard to stop the spiral unless you have the tools which we've created to really understand, well, how do I, as a parent, help my child not get pulled in? And how do we as adults not get pulled in? I think that's what we're seeing the danger of these technologies is, and we need to empower our kids to kind of pull them out. So when that happened to me, I saw, wow, I'm just getting sucked into a silly story about some silly person and making a lot of stories up that aren't true.
That's right.
But what worried me was that it started to hurt my self-esteem. Now I'm an adult, so I put a stop to it in 5 hours later. But imagine our kids who do not have the
Yeah.
capacity yet to stop,
That's
which it
right.
takes a lot of discipline to stop.
Stop. Yeah. And it's so beautiful. Like even what you said 5 hours. That's a long time. That's a
It
long
took me
time
5 hours.
to feel that feeling of lack of self-confidence, that feeling of unworthiness, that feeling of that you'll never ever be able to achieve something, or that you'll never ever have something. Those 5 hours you cannot get back, right? And so what if we actually were able to empower our kids to also have the tools for them to be able to switch that energy immediately? That's something that you will also learn too. So obviously there's a point that a lot of this is just inevitable. You're gonna have these experiences. Then we're also going to teach and empower you to help your kids. What do they do with them? How do they deal with them? How do they not go down the spiral of 5 hours, like Marcy said, or five
Yeah,
hours,
and they go down it.
nothing. Yeah, they go down
Their
it for
spiral
months.
is all day, 24 hours. This is what I realized that got me so concerned. Their
Yeah,
spiral never stops
never
because
stop.
never stops. So it's hurting their body image, it's hurting their brain, it's hurting how they process, it's hurting the stories they tell.
Yeah,
But we can stop it, and
yeah,
they can learn how to stop it, which is a beautiful thing.
huge. For me, it's really, really interesting. What really threw me for a loop. Those of you who know me, I know there are many students that are watching have been in my classes or whatever. I live in a really amazing universe. My universe is amazing. I'm really happy. I'm really fulfilled. I get to do what I do. I love what I do. And I don't really have much that I really deal with that kind of like pops that bubble. You know, I've I've really kind of, even my social media, I feel for the most part really is curated with people who are engaged and interactive. I don't go looking for things. However, I want to share something crazy with you. The other day, I happened to be on Facebook, and I'm not always on Facebook, but there was an ad, okay? An ad for a show, a musical that I had seen in London called Sunset Boulevard. And I loved this show so much. Immediately, I saw the ad and I said, wow, that show's going to New York City. It's going to be on Broadway. And I was so excited that it was coming to Broadway. So I'm building up my excitement. I'm so excited. I can't wait. When is the show? I go and I click the ad on social media. And I click the ad and all the comments from people show up. And I start to read the first comment, and the first comment is, whoa, that actress, she's really, really done some work to her face. Her face looks so distorted now. And I was like, that's all you can say about her?
It's
Then
mean.
it's
Makes me.
horrible. And then another person said, well, I can't believe she's playing this role. That role is supposed to be for an old lady, and she's some gorgeous, sexy young thing. And I know the show, so I knew that the person didn't even know what they were talking about. It just got worse, Marcy, and worse and worse. And I got more angry, more disgusted, and more hurt as I started to read those horrible comments about somebody they don't know, that they haven't even seen the performance. And I had to say something. And I said in the chat, I said, I just have to say this was one of the greatest performances, and it was one of the greatest performances on a stage that I have seen in the last 15 years. And this woman is perfect for the role, period. And I just felt like I had to defend her. I felt like I had to defend the show. I felt like I had to be the one who was saving everybody. And that, of course, brings up all of my garbage.
Yes. And look how long you spent doing that. And the
I
comments probably still continued to go down that
That's right.
negative
That's right.
spiral.
That's right. And you remember, I called you and I was like crying. I was crying because I was so hurt that these people bullied this woman. And I said to another friend of mine, they said, well, she's a celebrity, so she expects that. And I thought, nobody deserves that. Nobody deserves that. You can see how it worked me up. So I went to Marcy. I said, Marcy, if I feel this way, and Marcy had her experience and she felt that way, I said, what can we do to change this? What can we do to be a conversation that actually creates a positive impact in this world? And that's what this social media spiral is about.
Yeah. And what's so amazing is that when I spoke to kids and I heard why they were doing things, they have no idea why.
No
And
idea.
so what's so cool, when Daniel and I were thinking about how to teach this to parents, it's so simple. We've created something so simple that is going to change immediately for them.
Right.
Immediately, it changes their relationship with social media so that they can have an awareness of what is actually going on. And think about it, Daniel, you were reading all of these comments and negative and you were feeling bad. Do you know how mean kids are to each other on social media?
Exactly. Exactly.
It is things that we don't even see as parents. And so we really need to help our kids. We need to help them understand what's going on because we can't protect them that much from it. We have to teach them. And that's why we're so inspired by this, because we want to make a difference with you and support you guys, because I know as a mom, it was really stressful to see what my kids were going through online.
That's right.
And I didn't know what to do. And I'm in the business.
That's right.
And it took me a lot of time and research and working with Daniel to say, this is what's going on. This is what's going on. And no one's teaching how to fix this. And by fix it, I mean, give tools and ways that our kids can work through this in a really, really empowering way. And that changes their life. And that's why we're so excited, because we want to help you guys stop the screen time, screaming how much, how little, worrying about what they're watching. They're going to start taking control of their choices.
Correct.
That is something they have to learn now.
That's right.
They have to learn now. And the one thing I have learned too, Daniel, is the more the more we clamp down, the more when they get access to the tools,
Yeah,
they won't know what to do. So we want to teach them. We
that's
want to
right.
teach them.
And just so you guys know, there's going to be 4 parts to, well, first of all, the class is going to be, there's 2 classes. I will tell you the class is on April 17th and April 24th. And that's at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So it would be 7 a.m. in China. Lee J, we can look at and find a different time also that works if people are interested, if that doesn't work. And it's going to be on Zoom so that you have the opportunity to interact. Okay. Now, each class is going to be about 2 hours long. Okay. So that you get plenty of time to actually take what Marcy and I are giving you and to ask questions about it, to ask how you can use it with your specific children, with your specific situation. We are very, very confident that the dialogue that is created in this kind of environment is really going to make you feel like you not only are you getting money, your money's worth, but that it's something that you can begin to do and implement now. So again,
Right
it's
away.
right away. The class will be a total of 4 hours. So it'll be 2 hours in each class, April 17th and April 24th, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you can register for the class on my website, theprovocativeintuitive.com. If you are wanting to register for the class in China, you can reach out to our to Li Jie, who's our manager and my business partner there in China, and she will get you set up. We will have a special WeChat group for anyone who signs up for the class in China. You'll have the opportunity, everyone will have the opportunity to ask questions, whether they are in the class or whether they are not. And the best part about it is, which I think, is once you take the class, you will get a recording of the class. You'll get a link to download the audio recording of the class that you can listen to over and over and over again. Okay. And that is going to be something that you can reference anytime you want. If you can't make one of the classes or if you can't show up, or if you have to leave early, you'll always have the content that was there and it will always be there for you. Okay. What am I forgetting, Mars? Anything about the class?
No, I think we tried to design it, guys, so like Daniel said, it's just really easy for you and that it solves problems for you right away.
Yeah.
And if you got, we can't take any questions now, right? We can't take questions.
Not really. The other thing too that Marcy, I want to address for them. We didn't mention this actually. So this class is going to be kind of like a prerequisite. Okay. Marcy and I are building a program that will unfold and unfold and unfold. But this class is the prerequisite. This is the first class. Okay. We're going to have classes in the future that you can actually bring your kids to. Okay. That's going to be very special, but you have to know the language that we're going to begin to implement. So everyone has to, this class will become a prerequisite for all the classes that we offer. Okay.
Yeah, part of what Daniel and I want is the parents to be involved in the conversation before we teach the kids with the parents. So we want you guys to have the tools, the language, the understanding of what's going on, and you're going to use them too. I mean, we use them now.
Yeah,
We use them all the time.
That's right. Well, Marcy, I am so excited about this class. I'm so honored that I get to collaborate with you, that we get to collaborate
Me too.
in this amazing environment. It's going to be so much fun. Those of you who are joining for the first time, may have never even heard of Storybooth or whatever, do yourself a favor and find Storybooth on the internet. On YouTube, if you can access YouTube. I know that there are some platforms in China that have it. Li Jie will let you know what those are. She's been doing some research about it. She's found them. Actually, Marcy, Li Jie's daughter knew Storybooth when she told her about it. And she had said that they had actually used it in one of her classes. They used one of the videos in her classes.
Yeah, we are taught in schools now. So a lot of teachers are using the program. We're going to use some of Storybooth in our class too, because we know that it resonates with kids. But yeah, I think that's part of what we're doing. We're teaching through Storybooth, and that's why I'm psyched to work with you, Daniel, because we're gonna We're gonna have fun.
Yeah, we are. We're gonna have a blast. Guys, have a wonderful evening. Marcy, thank you so much. And just as
Thank you.
kind and friendly reminder, in less than 30 minutes, we are going to do the new moon eclipse in the sign of Aries. We're doing a workshop and a meditation right after this at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I hope to see you all there. It's a really powerful day, amazing energy. Really, this is really about new beginnings and starting over and starting fresh. And I'm so excited to see where our amazing collaborations go, Marcy. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you, Lee J. And
Bye, everybody. Thanks, Lee J.
bye, everyone. Bye, Irina.